What is going on, Wastelanders? It is me, Lone Vault Wanderer, with another Fallout 4 video. So this video is going to be about how the special system in Fallout 4 is going to be incredibly important in terms of building your character and in terms of character progression and development. Now this video is based on an interview that Pete Hines did with IGN, I believe at Gamescom. They uploaded it about 5 days ago, so if you want to check out that interview in full and the questions that Pete answered, the link to that video is in the description below. But I'm going to be highlighting the main points. So Pete starts off by saying that the focus of Bethesda in creating Fallout 4 was to play up the importance of the special system. The special system is going to be the core role-playing part of Fallout 4. Pete describes how the game is designed to use special in combination with the 270 perks to allow for more variety as far as the character you can play as, the choices you make, and how you can make your character progression and development unique to anybody else playing the game, whether that's other people in the Fallout community or just your friends or family. Pete explains that there are a lot of different paths in terms of character builds, and he gives an example where you can take your strength up to 10 straight away, and as soon as you leave the vault you can get a crazy strength perk that maybe most people won't get for a long time because they haven't made that same investment into strength than you have. But he describes how that's a bit of a roll of the dice because increasing your strength level to 10 means that you're disadvantaging yourself in terms of every other special characteristic. So if you want to be this barbarian type guy that's really good at melee, can carry a lot of items, then you would increase your strength to 10, and then you'd get access to really powerful strength based perks. Or quite equally, and this is just me implying from what Peter said, you can go for a more neutral character or a more neutral build that has strength, perception, endurance, etc. all levels out so you have a more balanced character, so you can't necessarily get crazy perks specific to each special characteristic, but at the very least you can still find a more broader diversity or a more broader array of perks within each of the special characteristics than you would if you're solely investing into particular characteristics of special. And Pete describes it as a bit of a sacrifice if you do decide to make one of those very specific character builds. But all in all, Pete has described how the special system has been created as such that it gives us as players a lot of choice into how to develop our characters and in terms of what kind of characters we actually want to play as. But he also does stress that these choices aren't necessarily overwhelming. When we start the game and also when we level up, you're only presented with a set number of options. So while there are 270 perks in total, you can't obviously pick them right off the bat, and that's the exact same with Fallout 3. But he does go on to say how when you level up and you're picking from a certain suite of perks, you can see what perks come after certain perks that you pick, and therefore you kind of have the foresight in terms of the future perks that you might want to invest in because it gives you that insight earlier on. The way Pete describes it is that you can look at what perks come after the other perks you pick and identify where you want to be able to go. In turn, it is trying to push diversity with regards to character builds. So I've given a pretty long synopsis of what Pete Hines was saying in that interview. Again, you can go watch it yourself. I've provided the link in the description below. But I'm really liking what Pete is saying. Now, I'll be completely honest. When I first heard of the special system, the perk system, in terms of how skills were just getting completely removed, I was worried in that we might get pigeonholed in the sense that, well, if I invest all of my points in strength, for example, or in perception, then my character is going to be very pigeonholed to that particular characteristic. But Pete says something very interesting when he says, it's not that you're necessarily blocked off to the crazy perks of the other special characteristics if you don't invest in them heavily straight away. It's that you just don't have access to them straight away. He uses the example again of that strength and says how you might have access to crazy strength perks before anybody else does, but that implies that eventually other people that did not decide to invest heavily in strength initially will eventually have access to those crazy strength perks. So it seems like there is going to be a way, and this is probably going to be through the perk system, where you're still able to increase points of certain special characteristics as you play through the game, and it's not solely determined at the start. Now that's just me implying from what Peter said, maybe it's happening in another way, but obviously with Fallout 3, you were able to take a perk where you could increase any one of your special stats straight away by 1 point at that stage. So maybe there's going to be a similar system with Fallout 4. And by saying that, Peter's kind of calmed me down in terms of being pigeonholed, because my worry was that, well, if I invest heavily in strength and no other perks, then I'm pigeonholed to strength. Now, obviously the flip side to that is that you can pick a more balanced, character style and picked very balanced stats in terms of the special characteristics. But I guess I was worried that certain perks would just be completely blocked off to you if you didn't invest heavily enough in that special characteristic or that special stat straight away as soon as you start the game. But I'm glad to hear that eventually you'll be able to get access to some of these perks that you wouldn't have been able to get access to earlier on if you had picked certain stats to invest heavily within. So I'm liking that. It's kind of calmed me down in terms of the being pigeonholed curiosity that I had initially. But it does seem like this new special system and character development in Fallout 4 has really been geared to push player freedom, to push diversity, to improve, choice in whatever aspect of Fallout 4, whether that's in the quests you do or the type of character you want to build. And it's been an ongoing theme, whether it's Todd Howard explaining it, whether it's Pete Hines explaining it. The focus and the emphasis with anything Fallout 4 has just always gone back to, in most cases anyways, to player choice and to freedom and to diversity and to doing what you want and being who you want and playing how you want to. So Pete Hines' explanation of the special system and how it's going to work, I think it's just another exemplification of the mantra that the Bethesda team has really been pushing in the lead up towards the release of Fallout 4. So I'd love to get your thoughts, guys and girls, on what you think on this particular interview. Please put them in the comments below. As always, please follow me on Twitch and Twitter. The links to those pages are in the description below. I would really appreciate it. And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and as always, keep fighting the good fight.